What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. We're just out in the garage with the BBSHD mountain bike. So on this bike, it's a Schwinn Axum. So I got this bike on a Walmart clearance sale, $228 for the bike. What a deal. Wow. And I've got a Flipski 75-100 Pro V2 controller inside of this old headphones case. We've got the Cycle Analyst display on here connected to the Flipski. I've still got to finalize that video. That one's taken me a long time. I'm sorry about that, the Cycle Analyst with any controller video. I gotta get that sorted out, finish that one up. But yeah, so we got this bike out here, and I haven't used this for quite a while. Last fall, I got addicted to mountain biking, right? I was going mountain biking like every day, as much as I possibly could, with every spare moment of my time. And my bike is just like still in a state of disarray here from mountain biking. Like, look at look at all this wax on my chainring. Like, I just kept putting more and more wax on there, and I just kept going. And I've got wax. The wax is even all over my rim, along with a layer of dust and debris. So then my chainring, we've got the 42 teeth chainring in the front. Got the BBSHD mid drive. So this is the stock steel 42 teeth chainring. And it's got a little bit of an offset right there that brings the chain back this way. And then back here, it's just a single speed. I've got a pinion, and you can't see it right now because it's so dirty, but there's a pinion P8200 rear spider adapter in here. So that's a piece of metal where it goes on the cassette, like a Shimano free hub body for a cassette, where a cassette would normally go, but then you can stick on a 104 BCD chainring on the back. So that allows me to gear this motor very low by using a big sprocket back here, right? And the reason that I use this P82, the pinion P8200 adapter, is because I want that big sprocket, and I want it centered in my cassette, like centered right here, so I get a straight chain line to the motor, right? And when you buy a 104 BCD chainring like this, it's only like $10 maybe. But if you were to buy a cassette that is geared as low as this, you'd be paying probably like $100 for a cassette. Right, so this is just kind of an economical way to get low gearing in the back and a big sprocket without having to buy expensive cassettes. And then I've got the straight chain line, and I don't need to buy expensive chain rings up here. So I've got a wheel speed sensor mounted back here, and that's hooked up to the Cycle Analyst up here, so that when the wheel is spinning, it shows me the speed on the Cycle Analyst, right? So that's just kind of an overview of this bike. But so what I'm going to be doing today is, we got to reprogram the Flipski. I'm going to downgrade the firmware version on my Flipski, because last fall, the last time that I used this bike, I had upgraded it to firmware 6.05, VESC 6.05. And so what I found was that in VESC 6.05, it seemed like the field weakening, like something changed with it when you use field weakening. And the BBSHD, like no matter what I did, I was turning field weakening up, and it was just like the field weakening wasn't working at all anymore. And so I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to downgrade my VESC back to 6.02 where it was working, just to make sure that we can just downgrade back to 6.02, see it working like I remember it, and then we can verify that yes, there is something funny in VESC 6.05. So well, we're gonna reprogram. So we got the Flipski controller. We're gonna connect to it with Bluetooth on my laptop. But first, what I'm going to do here is, you got to be careful with the mid drive around your chainring, because like if you have pedal assist and you accidentally bump your cranks, like all of a sudden the motor might start spinning the chain ring and then you get your finger caught in there or something, right? I don't have pedal assist set up on this bike right now, but I'm just warning you. Be careful when you're working on your mid-drive. So yeah, basically what I'm gonna do here is get the chain, and then I've got this do-it-yourself chain tensioner. I need to get that sorted out too, because that was not working the best last year. But so I'm gonna get my chain off of the chain tensioner just by kind of bending things around here, and then we can kind of just like twist the sprocket until the chain comes off of the front here. It's actually quite hard to get the, there we go, pull it off the top of it. There we go. All right, so I'm taking the chain off of here just so that my motor can spin freely and we can program it. There we go. All right. So now we're gonna get on my computer here. Let's see. Let's make sure we're still in frame. All right, so we're on the computer. Let's can the brightness go any higher here? Brightness higher. There we go. All right, VESC tool. So I'm gonna open up the VESC tool on my computer. This is software that I've downloaded from the VESC tool website. So we are just gonna wait for the VESC tool to load up. All right, guys, so after like 15 minutes of fussing around with Microsoft Windows, which seems to get slower and slower every time I turn my computer on and wants to do a system update before I can even use my computer, and then nothing's working and you gotta reset it, and then mysteriously everything starts working out of nowhere. We're on Microsoft Windows. We're in the VESC tool. We're going to establish a connection through Bluetooth. So we're going to the Bluetooth tab over here on the left side. You can see my giant mouse cursor. Going to connection and then clicking on Bluetooth LE. Going to click on this little like refresh recycling symbol over here, refresh. We got the flip ski. I'm going to hit that connect button over on the far right. Get steam out of the way. If everything's good, you should get a green message down the bottom right saying that everything's like connected BLE to something or other. All right. So let's see here. So the first thing I'm going to do is we're going to go to the VESC Dev Tools and then Lisp BM Scripting. And I am going to make a new tab. And then I'm going to read whatever script I currently have on here. Okay, so we've got that. So that loaded the script that I was running on VESC on my bike last time, just so that I have it, because I had a script that was running for the BBSHD. So then I'm gonna hit erase, erasing old script. So you erase that old script. So I'm just gonna erase the script. I don't want my script doing anything when I'm programming the motor. Okay, so now let's go back to the motor settings. Actually, let's go back. So what we're going to do is the firmware. We're going over to the firmware. So there's over here firmware on the left. So then there is, so it says hardware, the hardware version on my Flipski. I've already changed the firmware, like the hardware version on my Flipski, so that it shows the 75-100 V2 hardware. Right, so like just for some context, like previously I already updated the firmware on my Flipski, and then something wasn't working after I updated it, so now I'm like reverting it back, downgrading it backwards. So what I want to do is we're on 6.05 is what it says down here. So we're gonna click up here to find the old ones, the old firmwares. I'm gonna go to the archive, so that's right here. And then you can see there's all these versions over here, firmware version. So I'm gonna click on 602 is the one that I want. over here on the firmware version, but then over here on the files, you can see it just shows that VESC default.bin. I don't see the no hardware limits one at all. So I'm gonna go down here to click show non-default firmwares. And then now you can see up here, we can see 75100 V2 and it says VESC default no hardware limits.bin. So then what I'm gonna do here to downgrade the firmware is, let's see here. So it's this button, that, boop. So it says uploading new firmware will clear all settings in the VESC firmware. And you have to do the configuration again. Do you want to continue? I'm gonna hit yeah. So it says erasing bootloader, uploading bootloader, erasing buffer, uploading firmware. There's a little progress bar that's going here. 6%, 7, 8. So this is gonna take a minute. Alright, 99, upload done. So it says the firmware upload is done. The device should reboot automatically within 10 seconds. Do not remove power before the reboot is done, as that can brick the CPU. Okay, so we're just kind of chilling out. Usually it restarts pretty quick, so I'm just gonna go to the connection tab again here to the Bluetooth. Gonna hit refresh. And I'm just gonna hit connect. Let's see here. Actually, let's restart the VESC tool because restarting the VESC tool. Because Bluetooth is sometimes funny. I don't know what the deal is with the Bluetooth and the VESC tool, like the desktop app, but like I just have a lot of problems with it, and I always have to just like completely restart the app. See, so now, oh man, so now Bluetooth doesn't seem like it's working at all for VESC tool, so then that's when you have to go into your Bluetooth devices on Windows and then go here to remove the device, VESC Bluetooth UART to remove the device. And then we gotta go back, start the VESC tool back up. Okay, so then we're gonna go back to the connection, Bluetooth LE, we're gonna refresh this. There, so let's see here. So now do I need to go back into the Bluetooth devices? Like more devices, and like what is going on here? Maybe I need to flip this, do the flip ski on and off here. Let's see. I'm not sure where my switch is for the flip ski. Where is that switch? Where did I ever put that thing? I think I just unplug it with the cord, huh? Man, we're just gonna... Alright, I'm gonna go to add a device, and now it says it's like, okay, so VESC Bluetooth UART next. Connecting, installing VESC Bluetooth UART. GoPro, did you overheat or what are you doing here, GoPro? This is like, all right, so can we refresh here? All right, now it sees the flip ski. So let's connect to it. Okay, so it says it's got old firmware on it. So it connected, we got the green thing, but it gave me that old firmware message. That's fine. All right. So if we go over here to the firmware version, so it says 6.02. That's what I've got loaded right down here. All right. So let's go to the motor. Let's go do the motor setup. So general, actually let's go up to welcome and wizards, top left. And then we're gonna do setup, motors, FOC. Sorry you guys can't see this. I'm not doing like a proper screen recording here. So would you like to restore this VESC to all defaults before proceeding? Yes. Okay, so that's fine. Alright, so we reset everything to the defaults. So this motor setup screen is kind of the same. It's kind of the same as the app. So I'm just gonna click on, do my normal thing and click on override and uncheck the BMS stuff because I don't use the VESC BMS. Hit next. Then this one is the BBSHD is a large in-runner because the rotor is it's an in-runner motor where that rotor is on the inside. Alright, now I'm gonna override it. The motor poles is, I believe it's 8 on the BBSHD, is it not? If you ever forget how many motor poles are in your motor, you can pull up a picture of the rotor and then just look at how many magnets there are. And so yeah, there's 8 on the Bafang BBSHD rotor. So we're gonna use 8 for the motor poles, but it's also geared. But it doesn't, I don't think it matters on the BBSHD, does it? Like for the motor poles, 8, couldn't I do 8? I think I did before. So I'm just gonna, so I don't think that we need to like set the motor poles to a special like effective motor poles like I do with the geared hub motor. We just use 8 motor poles with the BBSHD. It's all coming back to me, I think. Let's hit next and just see what happens. So yes, so we've got 14 cells in series, and then this battery is 8 amp hours of capacity. We're gonna make the battery current max 30 amps. That's what it is stock for the BBSHD. Let's hit next. So I'm gonna make sure that direct drive is unchecked. We're gonna make the motor pulley 42 teeth. I'm gonna make the wheel pulley, that is, or no, wait. The motor pulley is 46 teeth, right? That's my front chain ring. And then the wheel pulley is 42 teeth, is what I have on this right now. Okay, so then the beta value for the motor thermistor is 3900. So then my wheel diameter, I remember that this took some calculations, so it was like I had to do what was it? 1 divided by 21.9 times, like, what was it, like 740 millimeters, 33.7. All right, so I've calculated my wheel diameter by doing 1 divided by 21.9. So that gives us kind of like the internal gearing of the BBSHD, and then you multiply that by the wheel diameter in millimeters. So for me it's like 740. So I got 33.78 millimeters for my wheel diameter is what I'm using. So let's do run detection and see what happens here. So run detection. Okay, so hopefully my voltage and everything will allow the motor to go. I don't know if I need to change those settings at all. Okay, so it's doing something. I think it was spinning the correct way there. All Alright, GoPro is getting hot. So there's our results with all of our motor current and everything that we're doing. Alright, so okay. So let's make sure the motor's going the right direction. There we go. Alright, let's finish. Alright, so we just did the motor setup. So now let's go to setup input. I'll go to next. So we're going to set up the ADC throttle now. So I'm going to select ADC input, hit next. So now this is the part where, I'm going to turn my cycle analyst on here, because my throttle, so on this bike the throttle is wired to the cycle analyst, and then the cycle analyst has a throttle output that goes to the flip ski's throttle input. So I hit the throttle, signal goes to the cycle analyst, and then it goes to flip ski. Alright guys, so I think I've mapped my throttle in here. I'm not sure why, but like invert ADC 1 voltage was set to true by default here. I don't know why. It was very weird, but I needed to set invert ADC 1 voltage to false in order to get my throttle to like seem like it's working right. So now we're gonna go next. So the ADC configuration, so the control type is current. Alright, so I'm gonna hit right configuration to VESC. I'm gonna hit next, finish. Okay, so now, hopefully the motor, if I hit the throttle, alright, motor's spinning. So the motor's configured in VESC, throttle, the ADC throttle set up. So now I'm gonna go in here and I'm gonna configure everything for a higher voltage battery. Oh, one other thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna load my script back on here and make sure that the script is working okay before I set out. Because I use the script to kind of smooth out the BBSHD a little bit. Okay, so everything is in order here. Alright. So now I should be able to hit the throttle and the wheel should. Okay, so we've got that going. So now you can see like when the wheel starts spinning, it introduces some slack to the drivetrain, and then kind of like the chain is no longer under tension and there's some slack in the drivetrain back there. So I have a script, because if you hit the throttle after the wheel has coasted and the motor stops spinning, it'll kind of like, it can kind of like jam, like do lashing like that. So I have a script that I put on here. So I'm going to put the script back on here. We'll go down to the VESC Dev Tools under Lisp BM Scripting. And then I am going to upload the script so that it starts on every boot on my flip ski. Alright, so now we've got that script going. So now when I hit the throttle, I've got it kind of automatically spinning, so that keeps the chain under tension and it keeps the drivetrain engaged, so that when you hit the throttle again, it doesn't do any lashing. And then you can just kind of hit the brakes to stop that. Alright, so I've got the script back on there. We're back on VESC 6.02. I'm going to put it back on high voltage, get the settings all set up, then go ride it around a little bit. feels pretty good so far. Now this battery, it's a 20S 3P battery, so it's not like a crazy speed demon or anything. It's only 3P. Ooh. Had a little bit of a fault right there, some kind of a hiccup. Probably the absolute current limit might be a little low. Might change that a little bit. It's been a while since I set up the BBSHD, something like that. Let's try that, see how that works. So the goal here is just to ride around a little bit, see how everything's going, and don't break anything and make it back. I haven't rode this bike for months. I've missed it. It's such a nimble machine. Oh, man. She's a jumper. We're gonna do a little out into the road maneuver here. Nice. It's feeling good. We're ripping around. Field weakening is definitely working. I think it was just VESC 6.05. Something's funny in that one, because it's definitely working better again. Working nicely. I still got the hookworm tire on the rear. We gotta be careful. Motor's at 35. Oh. Don't think we're gonna take it off-road anywhere. Super wet. Everything's melting today. I think it's like 40 something degrees out. Motor's at 40. The walking path still looks very snowy and wet. So I'll have to take this thing out with a 21S battery, my 21S 5P battery that has all the that has my big battery that can go the fastest. See how fast we can get going on that battery. This battery is kind of a smaller one that I made just for mountain biking. It's not so heavy. My janky DIY chain tensioner is still holding on down there. Probably gonna have to make an improvement to that. It's a little bit unsightly, a little bit noisy. Well, it's nice to give this bike out for a little ride and see how it's doing. Seems to be working nicely, the field weakening. I'll have to look into the source code of 6.05 and try and figure out what they changed. I don't know. I looked at it before, but because if I could figure out what they changed in 6.05 that messed up the field weakening with the BBSHD, then maybe I could just change that one thing back and make a custom version of 6.05 where a field weakening would work like it did previously. I don't know, we'll have to see. Right now, I'm just gonna ride this bike back before something breaks. These people are just looking at me like I'm fucking, I don't know.
It's like I can't tell if they're gonna, like, usually if a car is still traveling at 20 miles an hour, I'm not just gonna roll out in front of it. So they had a confused look on their face there. All right, thanks for watching, guys. Just wanted to get this bike out and verify that 6.02 works okay, and it does. It seems to work well. So make sure you like and subscribe. I'm gonna be getting the BBSHD back out with the Flipski VESC controller. More in the future. Thanks for watching, guys. Like and subscribe. Peace out. It's only doing like 20 amps. Like, what's the fucking deal here? Guys, on the cycle analyst, we can see that we've got 78.8 volts. We went 6 miles. Motor's at 40C. Used about 3 amp hours out of the battery. So these are all the stats. My cycle analyst. 38.7 watt hours per mile. .5 max speed. So it seems like the field weakening is working properly.